Alright, so I thought tonight I would do a review of Ring of Honor's Final Battle from February 23rd, 2011, last year. I actually watched this one live. I just thought I would go ahead and re-watch it since it does save on the Go Fight Live network. It does save all the pay-per-views you buy, and you can re-watch them if you want. So I thought I would go ahead and do a review of Final Battle before this Sunday's Ring of Honor pay-per-view. The first thing I remember about this when I watched it live was just how long this was. I mean, it was like 4.5 hours, and it was only $15, so it was a great deal. But man, this was a long pay-per-view. It just went on and on. At the main event, you can tell the crowd is kind of burned out. I was burned out. But you know, you get your money's worth. You get even more. I mean, it's just a crazy amount of wrestling for one show. But it was a really good pay-per-view. I liked it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right to it. They were in the Hammerstein Ballroom. There were some, with the stream, when you watched it live, there were some camera problems, there were some audio problems when they tried to go to replays. The voice would be this weird, sound like the devil, some kind of really deep voice talking for the replays. It was weird. But other than that, it was a pretty good stream quality. So I think they're going to improve, they're going to get better with more people buying the pay-per-views, so it wasn't bad. It definitely didn't really hurt the show in any way. They come out and it's Jim Cornette, Kevin Kelly, Nigel McGuinness, Kerry Silkin, the COO, and Nigel gets a huge ovation. They open up the show. The COO wishes everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Festivus. The first match is Elgin with Truth Martini versus TJ Perkins. This was a good match. I really liked this one. At one point, Elgin catches TJ in a dive and just throws him into the guardrail. It was sick. And TJ jumps off the top rope, and Elgin catches him and holds him in a suplex. And I was impressed with that. Elgin wins with a buckle bomb and a spinning sit-down power bomb. He's kind of like their big monster character, kind of. So I get that. I mean, I like Michael Elgin. He was good here in this match. They were both really good. The next match, the Embassy comes out. Prince Nana cuts a promo on Jimmy Rave. The fans chant "shut the fuck up" to R.D. Evans. He says Jimmy Rave wants to crash the Embassy's party, but Ciampa will destroy him. Jimmy Rave comes out. We have Tommaso Ciampa versus Jimmy Rave. This match didn't do much for me. It was okay, I guess, but like I said, it didn't really do anything for me, so it was just another match on the show. Jimmy Rave goes for greetings from Ghana, but Prince Nana gets on the apron and offers him a spot back in the Embassy. Rave attacks him. The Embassy jumps the ring. He throws all of them out. Ciampa attacks him from behind, hits the powerbomb drop onto the knees, and gets the win, staying undefeated. We have Mike Bennett with Maria and Brutal Bob versus Jay Lethal and versus El Generico in a triple threat match for the TV title. It was funny how the fans started chanting CM Punk and sloppy seconds to Mike Bennett and Maria. Jay Lethal got a "fuck TNA" chant from the crowd. There was one awesome spot where El Generico does this flip onto Jay Lethal, and then Mike Bennett's on the other side of the ring. And so El Generico, and they're both on the outside of the ring, and where the post is, and you have the ropes connecting, El Generico runs and dives through this tiny corner, hits Bennett, and then hits him with a tornado DDT. It was very impressive. El Generico goes for a brainbuster on Jay Lethal off the top rope, but Bennett hits him from behind and gets a roll-up on Generico, eliminating him. And then when he turns around, Jay Lethal hits the lethal injection for the win. So he keeps his TV title. Then we have the best match of the night, by far. Jim Cornette and Kerry Silkin come out. Jimmy Jacobs comes out. He's the referee. and this is to set up the big Kevin Steen versus Steve Corino feud. It's a no disqualification match. If Kevin Steen wins, he gets his job back. He gets reinstated with Ring of Honor. He wanted Jim Cornette present. Jimmy Jacobs is the ref, and Corino comes out, and then Steen makes his entrance. He's in the balcony of the Hammerstein Ballroom. He makes his way down. The crowd's going crazy. This match was awesome. They used a shitload of chairs. At one point, Steen brings in a guardrail, like the ones that keep the fans from the outside. He goes towards the entranceway and picks up this huge guardrail and just carries it down to the ring. And this thing just, oh my god, what they do with this was just nuts. Steen gets a table at another point, so the guardrail's just in the ring right now. But he gets a table, and then he sets that up on the apron to the guardrail, so it's laying across. Steve Corino gets the trash can that they use to hold the streamers in, and he starts throwing that in the ring. He starts throwing chairs in the ring. Just a ton of weapons here. At one point, Steen hits a power bomb. He where the guardrail is connecting to keep the fans in, he puts a chair there and hits a power bomb onto Corino. And that was just sick. Just tons of cool spots in this match. He hits Corino with the lid to the trash can, and then he lays the lid on top of his head and does a flip onto it, and it knocks the handle off the lid. And I don't know what exactly happened here, but Corino's ear it looks like it's cut, and he just starts bleeding off the side of his head the entire time. And it just looked like he had a nasty cut. It looked painful. But Corino kicks out of that. Steen starts to bite the ear, which gets a huge pop from the crowd. Corino sets up these chairs, and then he puts the guardrail on top of it. Now these guardrails have this giant metal pole that they stand on, and he's got this thing laid across these 4 chairs with this pole sticking up, and he hits a superplex off the top, putting Steen through this guardrail. This thing has no give. The fans are chanting, "Please don't die," the entire time this is happening, and I was just so afraid he would land on one of those freaking poles, because that would just impale a person. It was just a crazy spot. So Steen has the table set up, and then he starts to put 2 chairs on top of the table and a chair across them. He has Corino up on the top rope, but Corino fights him off and hits him in the head with the trash can lid, and it knocks Steen off and through the table. Steen just keeps kicking out of everything. He looks like a monster here. He takes another crazy bump through the table, and the fans start chanting, "We want fire." It was just, I didn't like it. It was just lame. Steve Corino spits in Kevin Steen's face, and Steen cracks him in the head with the chair. Corino kicks out, and Jimmy Jacobs flicks off Kevin Steen. He gives him the finger. So Steen goes to hit Corino again, but Jacobs takes the chair from Steen, and Corino hits him in the head with a roll of quarters. So the final spot of the match is they set up 4 chairs in the middle, with just chairs in between, and Kevin Steen and Corino stand on top of it, and Steen hits the package pile driver. Jimmy Jacobs doesn't want to make the count. He's counting really slow, but he gets to 2, and then he looks at Cornette, who's freaking out and going ballistic. It was great. And then he has to make the pin. So he counts 3, and Steen gets his job back. Steen says he came to Ring of Honor to do 3 things. One was to destroy Steve Corino and win his job back. 2, and then he attacks Jimmy Jacobs, hits a package pile driver onto him. Then he holds up 3, and he goes after Cornette. He's about to package pile drive Cornette, but Generico comes out, makes the save. The 2 of them start fighting, and Generico goes for a brainbuster, but Steen counters and hits the package pile driver through a table onto El Generico. Paramedics come out to help Generico. They made it look like a big deal. This was good. Then we have the tag team gauntlet match for a future tag title shot. It's the Young Bucks, Bravados, All Night Express, Caprice, Coleman, and Cedric Alexander, and Future Shock, which is Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. The first team out is the Bravados. They wrestle Caprice and Cedric. Harlem goes for a roll-up, but Cedric reverses it into his own roll-up and gets the win, eliminating the Bravados. Future Shock is the next team. They get the win after a super kick, then a leg sweep clothesline combination. Then it's the Young Bucks versus Future Shock. Future Shock looked great in this gauntlet match. Kyle O'Reilly hits 9 double underhook suplexes on the Young Bucks. Nick Buck takes a wheelbarrow onto the apron on the outside. His back just slams right into it. It was a sick bump from Adam Cole. The Young Bucks win after hitting double super kicks, and then they hit their 450 into the moonsault combination. All Night Express is the last team, and this was okay. I know Rhett Titus had an injury, and they played that up in this match. They kind of worked it into the angle, but he couldn't really do a whole lot. He stayed on the outside for most of it. But it was still decent. Matt Jackson has Rhett Titus. He's got his knee tied up, and he refuses to give up. Nick Jackson hits a 450 onto him, and he refuses to quit. The referee stops it, and the Young Bucks win the tag team gauntlet, giving them the future tag title shot. But Nick Jackson goes up and hits another 450 onto him, so Kenny King goes outside and he brings in this weird chair. It's not a steel chair, it's like just a regular wooden chair, and he brings that in for some reason. The Young Bucks run away. Then we have Roderick Strong with Truth Martini for his invitational match. He cuts a great promo on how he's beaten and is better than all the other talent in the back. Truth does this, does some comedy where he counts to 10, waiting for the challenger to come out. And at one point he tells this lady in the audience, "Shut up, lady," and then he says, "Excuse me, shut up, whore." And it was just funny. It reminded me a lot of Joel Gertner, who was with the Dudley Boys in ECW. But Chris Hero comes out to accept the challenge. He was signed, supposed to be in WWE at the time, so I was surprised to see him here. It really got a huge pop from me because I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but Chris Hero was in Ring of Honor. Apparently he had high testosterone levels, and they had to review his medical work, but now he is in WWE, or at least he's in FCW Developmental. I mean, and they've changed his name to Cassius Ohno. And some people think it's okay because the initials are KO, but I don't. Cassius Ohno, that sounds really bad to me. And of all the people, I mean, they get these guys who are great wrestlers who have years on the independents, and they put them in developmental. Like Chris Hero needs to go to developmental. But anyways, apparently they got his medical stuff straight. I don't know what was going on with this testosterone thing. Chris Hero was not in good shape for this match. He had these huge love handles. But the match was okay. It was alright. I don't know if he maybe wasn't giving it his all because he was depressed about this WWE thing going on, but it was decent. And Roderick Strong looked great in it. Truth gets involved and it distracts Hero. Roderick Strong hits him with a big kick and gets the win over Hero. Hero probably knew he had some stuff going on and he may not be coming back, so he was just putting over Roderick, I guess. Then we have the Briscoes versus World's Greatest Tag Team for the tag team titles. This is where the Briscoes came out and they got a huge ovation, and the people booed the shit out of World's Greatest Tag Team, which effectively caused them to get a heel turn. I mean, instead of Ring of Honor trying to shove them down people's throats when they wanted to cheer the heels, which were the Briscoes, they gave the people what they wanted. Briscoes are now the baby faces, and World's Greatest Tag Team are the heels. It's not that hard. If people are booing someone, then you can easily make a good heel turn out of it. You don't have to shove people down their throats. But World's Greatest Tag Team attack the Briscoes with the belt before the bell rings. So they just kind of brawl around. Charlie Haas lays out the Briscoes with chairs. Shelton hits Jay in the head with the chair. And they just keep destroying them. They're using all these chairs. They're double teaming them. And at one point, Charlie Haas destroys Jay Briscoe with a chair shot to the head. And as he's going for it, you can hear Nigel McGuinness yell, "Put your hands up!" like really loud. And from what I have heard, the reason Nigel couldn't wrestle anymore and didn't get to go to WWE was because of health problems. And I heard that he didn't get hired in WWE was because when he went in for his medicals, he had suffered too many concussions. So I think when he sees people who take chair shots to the head, I know it's a huge thing on the internet, and a lot of people in wrestling don't like the chair shots to the head. WWE doesn't use them anymore. I don't even think TNA does, but I mean, it can cause a lot of damage to people. And I think Nigel knew that, and it just affects him a lot more because I think that's what ended his career early, were these concussions. And so it was just weird to hear that, and then see Jay take this brutal chair shot to the head. He starts bleeding from the top of his head. World's Greatest Tag Team goes for the Leap of Faith double team move onto Jay, and Shelton Benjamin fucks it up and lands on Charlie Haas's head. I don't know if it's just me, but Shelton Benjamin looks like he's been phoning it in for a while now. Like, he goes out there, he gets gassed up, and he gets tired quicker than anybody else, and it just doesn't seem like he's giving it his all anymore. He just doesn't care anymore. And that's what I see when I watch Shelton Benjamin. And that sucks because I remember when they would always praise him on Raw as being the best athlete, and now he's just kind of, whatever. So, I don't know. I thought this sucked when he fucked that move up. But then they try it again on Mark Briscoe, but Jay comes in to make the save. Shelton's ribs are hurt, so he gets carried to the back, and the Briscoes work over Charlie Haas. The ref takes a bump, and Shelton comes back with this piece of wood he gets out from under the ring. He hits Mark over the head with it, and it cracks into two pieces, and the fans start chanting USA for Hacksaw Jim Duggan. World's Greatest Tag Team go for a Doomsday Device, which is the Briscoes move, but the Briscoes fight back, and then they hit the Doomsday Device. World's Greatest Tag Team, and they win. 7-time Tag Team Champions now. So the Briscoes won the title here. Then we have Davey Richards versus Eddie Edwards with Dan Severn for the world title. Like I said, the crowd's kind of burned out. I was burned out. This match alone, like the main event, everybody had already seen so much and went crazy for the Briscoes winning and Kevin Steen. And then you have the main event, and they go 41 minutes in the main event. And it was just tiring. But it was an okay match. Roderick Strong comes out, and Kyle O'Reilly starts to attack him. Roderick throws him into the guardrail. Dan Severn starts to beat up Roderick Strong and Michael Elgin. Truth comes out, and he kind of picks Truth up over his shoulder and carries him out. Davey starts to kick Eddie Edwards in the head, but Eddie keeps kicking out of everything. He goes for the ankle lock, but Eddie won't give up. So then he just goes crazy with the kicks. He's like, it's over. He starts kicking him, kicks him in the head again, and then Eddie's just out, and Davey Richards gets the pin and keeps his World Heavyweight title. He cuts a promo on Eddie Edwards. He says, I don't need to tell the people how tough you are, or I don't need to tell these people how much heart you have because these people see it. And whenever you're done with whatever is consuming you, your brother will be waiting for you. Kevin Steen comes out and he says, you know, quit with this ass-kissing horse shit. And Davey Richards comes to attack him, but his group is holding him back. And Kevin Steen says that if Davey comes up this ramp, he will tear him apart, motherfucker. And it was just a great promo by Kevin Steen. He says that what matters tonight is that Kevin Steen is back, and in 2012 he will take the ROH title and hold the company hostage. And that was it. So this was a good pay-per-view. Like I said, it was 4.5 hours. I like Ring of Honor. I was watching it with my friends, some of who were casual wrestling fans who wanted to get into Ring of Honor. And by that main event, it just took everybody. Everybody was burned out on it. And it was just a little too long. But it's hard to complain about that. I mean, when you pay $15 for the pay-per-view and you're watching it, it's like they give you too much. It's a weird thing to complain about. It's not like the show was short or I didn't like the matches. It was too much wrestling. Too much for... I mean, it was just a crazy thing, but I'm sure other people who saw it know what I'm talking about. But anyways, that was Ring of Honor's Final Battle 2011, and I hope you guys like this review. I'm going to do a... I'll probably do a movie review tomorrow, but I'll be back Thursday for TNA, and then I'm going to do a Ring of Honor 10th Anniversary show, prediction show, and then I'll be back Sunday for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So, hope you guys like it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Rate the videos, leave some comments, and thanks for watching.